That's the way she wanted to treat it. It's over. We'll live through it. Let's move on. What she was doing, what I didn't know, because I never saw her this way, is she had cut her body into ribbons. Her arms, the insides of her legs, her stomach. I didn't know this. Obviously, I've never seen that. It didn't occur to me. Wow, I've never seen her not in a hoodie. Because a lot of girls wear hoodies. A lot of kids with eating disorders do that. It's habitual. They don't like their bodies. It was when, during a therapy session, that one of the therapists asked her, do you ever feel like you're hiding? We did some of these therapy sessions in person, as a group. This was a family therapy session. And the therapist asked, do you ever feel like you're hiding things from your mom or your dad? Do you ever feel like it doesn't work to keep the secrets anymore? And the girl said, I don't think I'm hiding anything. And the therapist said, are you okay rolling up your sleeve? She said, if you don't want to, it's okay. Those are your arms. But are you okay rolling up your sleeve? And as she did, we all saw a series of wounds. Deep. Some of them, I think, went down to the bone. Her parents knew that she had to be taken to the doctor, but the ER, I don't think they knew the extent of it. None of us gasped. We were too well trained. We'd seen so much. But then the girl stood up and she took off her hoodie. And she pulled up her pant leg. She says, okay if I show my stomach? The therapist said, yeah, and she did. Her mother fell to her knees in tears. Her father embraced her and said, that is so brave. You are still my little girl. Scars and all. And that girl fell into tears. And she said at the age of 16, Daddy, you'll never let him take me again. Upon graduation, her brother made a video. He made a video of her without any scars in the new heaven and the new earth, with her family gathered with her. We got to see that too. Don't let them steal your identities. Beloved of God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Because we believe, we speak. Because He first loved us, we speak His Word. We walk in the path of Jesus to make disciples of all nations until you and I speak again. May the peace of God that surpasses all understanding rest upon you. May God continue to make His face smile upon you. This is the Disciples View. I'm Todd Herman.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG, Greenville, Dallas.
Lord, please let me make it. Please, Lord. Or American Family Radio. I missed the show again.
Can't find the time to catch the live shows? No worries.
Wait, what?
You can listen and download all your favorite shows for free.
For free?
That's right, for free. Just visit the podcast page on afr.net. afr.net. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
For American Family News, I'm Chris Woodward. The federal government says 339,000 jobs were added last month. Unemployment is 3.8%. Job gains occurred in leisure and hospitality, government, healthcare, professional, scientific, and technical services, along with social assistance. The U.S. Naval Academy is being sued over its affirmative action policies. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has this story.
The lawsuit wants to keep the U.S. Naval Academy from considering an applicant's race during admissions. It was filed by Students for Fair Admissions, the same group that successfully challenged affirmative action college policies before the Supreme Court. In June, the court rejected policies used by U.S. colleges and universities to increase the number of Black, Hispanic, and other minority students on campuses, but it allowed U.S. military academies to continue the practice. This lawsuit wants that exemption removed. Students for Fair Admissions has already launched a similar case against the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
Female swimmers at Roanoke College in Virginia are speaking out about having to compete against a man that had just recently competed for a men's swimming team. Kate Pearson, Lily Mullins, and Bailey Gallagher say they feel abandoned by their school and the NCAA. Caitlin Wheeler is a female swimmer for the University of Kentucky. And responding to this on Newsmax, Wheeler encouraged other female athletes to speak up.
We're in the majority. There's not many people that are really truly for this. They're just speaking louder than us. So I really would just encourage those young athletes to speak up, to share their stories and to share that they're not supportive of this. We need more people to stand up and support women and women athletes. We need parents, we need men to stand up and support us as well.
Wheeler is an ambassador at the newly formed Riley Gaines Center at the Leadership Institute. Gaines has been speaking out about the issue of men and women's sports for over a year now. She also was on the Newsmax segment.
There are two sexes. You cannot change your sex, and each sex is deserving of equal opportunities.
Banned Books Week is really not about banning books. Bob Kellogg says it's really another opportunity for leftists to smear conservatives and Christians.
Banned Books Week just so happens to coincide with National LGBTQ History Month, and culture writer Laura Higgins of Breakthrough Ideas believes the idea that concerned parents are banning books in schools is nothing but deception.
Such an absurd deceit, and I hope conservatives are not falling for it. It's more smearing conservatives in order to silence them, because the real banners are leftists.
Higgins states the call for a ban on book banning is bogus. She says any ban on books is the result of leftists keeping conservative, family-friendly books out of schools and classrooms.
They're keeping books from getting published, keeping books from being purchased, keeping books from ever being selected by teachers to teach.
She further adds that it's taxpayers that end up paying for the neo-Marxist propaganda being made available to students. I'm Bob Kellogg.
In other news this hour, top U.S. airlines are inspecting their fleets for substandard parts in their jet engines. Here's Fox's Therese Crowley.
Several major U.S. airlines report they have discovered and replaced parts in jet engines with forged safety certificates, leading to a lawsuit against a London parts supplier, AOG Technics. The parts discovered in engine overhauls and replaced. Delta reported them in a small number of their fleet of 2,100. Wall Street Journal reports 126 jet engines with the substandard parts were discovered industry-wide. Just one or two at Southwest and United. The issue first discovered in June, GE jet engines filed a lawsuit. Pilots say the concern is jet engine blades flying apart and puncturing the cabin. But Delta and other airlines assure safety is always our priority.
In final news, the price of gas is cheaper today than it was going into last weekend. AAA has the national average at $3.74. Diesel is also a tad cheaper today. Find more news on AFN.net.
What does the American Family Association stand for? AFA believes that all men and women, whether in private or public, should be free to exercise their faith without hindrance from the government. These values and more are part of our mission to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. We also support the church. We want to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training for cultural transformation. Thank you for standing with us.
Religious freedom is about people of faith being able to live out their faith, live out their convictions, no matter where they are.
We equip.
This is a battle of
worldview.
And we activate.
We also rejoice in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope.
This is At the Core on American Family Radio.
Welcome to The Core here on American Family Radio. Glad to be with you today on the program. Walker Wildman here with you on the show. The show is hosted each week by myself and Rick Green. Rick's with you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm with you on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Jumping in to something I want to get to before we get into some of the news stories and some of the content of the show. For those who don't know, American Family Association is the parent ministry of American Family Radio. American Family Radio is what you're listening to now. We have 170 plus radio stations around the country that we own, operate, manage. And one thing my grandfather always said is he wanted to own the microphone, so that way the other people couldn't cancel us or deplatform us or pull our microphone because they don't like what we're saying. So that's what we own, about 170 plus stations. And American Family Association, as I said, is a parent ministry, and we do several things, a lot of work over at American Family Association. But one of the things that we do each month is we put out our flagship magazine publication called The Stand Magazine, formerly called AFA Journal for decades. But now it's called The Stand Magazine. And we offer a free 6-month subscription to anyone and everyone who is interested in receiving our magazine in the long run. So traditionally, we only offer the magazine to those who donate to our ministry, who are donors to our ministry. But for those who may not be donors yet, but still want the magazine and want to get a taste for it, we offer a 6-month free trial for free. We'll send that to you each month for 6 months. You can go to thestand.net, and click the subscribe button to the 6-month free trial, and we'll drop that magazine to your mailbox each month for 6 months. And if you like it and you want to keep getting it, well, then you'll have to donate to keep getting it for years to come. But it's a very good publication. Yeah, it's very in-depth. We don't put a lot of fluff in there. Very in-depth stories, articles, book and movie reviews, and of course an update on all the work that we're doing at AFA right there in the magazine. So that's a little bit about our magazine. Hey, it's of course October, and each month we emphasize a resource that we have available in our resource center. And so for this month, we are promoting our Ryan DeFreitas DVD sets. We've got multiple episodes, I believe 12 episodes of Ryan DeFreitas' Secret Agent. And it's an excellent children's animated cartoon video series where we not only have, entertaining stories and missions, if you will, that Ryan DeFreitas goes on, but in the midst of all of that, we tell stories. We tell lessons about God's Word, about having integrity, and other Bible lessons. We teach those to young kids through this video series. So Ryan DeFreitas' Secret Agent video series is what we're offering now for on a discount. You can order as much as you want at resources.afa.net. resources.afa.net. Right there on the homepage, you'll see the Ryan DeFreitas video series being promoted, and you can order as much as you want. It's a great cartoon, animated cartoon that you can watch or allow your children to watch or grandchildren to watch, and you don't have to worry about what's going to be on the commercials or what's going to be on the show. It's very, very family friendly, which is why we created that content there. So go to resources.afa.net to check it out. Hey, jumping into some of the stories I want to get to this week. Governor Youngkin in Virginia, of course, he won election for the governor's seat a couple of years ago, And he's been sticking to many of his promises. You know, he rode the coattails of that school, the parents and the school boards, and the frustration about what was being kept from parents, and parents not having a say, and then the school districts for pushing this gender ideology garbage to our young people. So nonetheless, that's kind of when Governor Glenn Youngkin came in, as during that parental revolution back a few years ago, which is still ongoing today, thankfully. And but one of the individuals who really started it all by taking a stand is a gentleman named Scott Smith. He's a parent. He's a dad. And Scott Smith's daughter had been the victim of a sexual assault because of these ridiculous, unscientific policies that say that boys who think they're girls can go into girls' bathrooms. And so Scott Smith's daughter was sexually assaulted by a boy who was in the girls' bathroom at this school. And the school board was reportedly in the process of covering all this up and making it to where nobody knew about it, even the dad here, Mr. Scott Smith. And so nonetheless, Mr. Smith showed up at this school board meeting, and he's trying to voice his outrage, his righteous outrage at his daughter being sexually assaulted at the school with these stupid policies. And what do? The school board brings in the police, and the police arrest Mr. Smith. So all of a sudden, Scott Smith is the bad guy. The dad, who is righteously angry over his daughter being assaulted, gets arrested and turns into the bad guy. Well, good news, Governor Youngkin, in the last month or so, has pardoned Mr. Smith. He's pardoned Mr. Scott Smith completely, gave him a quote-unquote absolute pardon to Scott Smith that reflects his quote-unquote factual innocence from criminal charges of obstruction of justice and disorderly conduct. So there you have it. And that's Scott Smith. So good for Governor Youngkin and the dad there that took a stand and really lit a fire under parents around the country to get involved and not put up with this nonsense at the local school board level. When you talk about two tiers of justice and you talk about a double standard, we're experiencing it across the board now. It didn't used to be this widespread, but boy is it. Remember and this is how you create a cynical generation. This is how you create a generation of people who don't take leaders serious. Remember back during the summer of riots, remember 2020, summer of 2020, George Floyd, BLM, Antifa, and the list goes on. How many of those people got arrested and locked up? How many of those people got arrested and locked up? We had thousands of people around the country in various cities that were burning down buildings, destroying property, assaulting individuals, and the list goes on. Assaulting police officers, by the way. Where was the FBI? Where was the police across the board? And there was this excuse making. And remember the vice president, the current vice president, then Senator Kamala Harris. During that was actually, she was the VP pick at that point. It was during the campaign trail with Biden. And remember, Senator Harris was raising funds to bail out the criminals. Do you remember that? She was setting up a bail fund, I know specifically in Minnesota. And there were other areas where Kamala Harris was raising funds so that she could bail out the criminals. And these were people that were locked up and charged with all kinds of crimes, and she was bailing them out. And there wasn't a peep about that from the media. There wasn't a peep about that from other Democrats. Nothing.
Nada. And then we've seen multiple times where people and groups protest in Washington, D.C. They protest in various office buildings. They have these sit-ins, right? We've seen it out west in some state capitals. And there's not this major call and this rush to lock them all up. But on January 6th, we have people trespass, and some people did property damage, all right, and they're going to have to suffer the consequences of that. But the vast majority of people in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021 were simply walking around on Capitol grounds. And they're being locked up on trespassing charges. The FBI's rushing in, giving all kinds of resources. There's even reports that the FBI is diverting agents that are typically supposed to be focusing on child pornography. They're turning their attention over to January 6ers. Or human trafficking. Instead of focusing on human trafficking, let's focus on January 6ers. So I say all that to set this up, to say that there's a major misunderstanding. There's major confusion in our society about what is right and what is wrong, and what levels of punishment those should face that do commit wrongdoing. There's a major, it's upside down, as the Bible says. It's people are calling things that are wrong right and right wrong. And that's why so many people are frustrated about what they're doing to President Trump, because if you look at what they're doing to President Trump, it's not as if no other former president has done any of this stuff, especially with the documents case down at Mar-a-Lago and the what happened in Georgia, specifically with those two cases. Those were common occurrences in politics. Former presidents taking documents with them to their library, to their home, to their office after leaving office, to their home office. And then you look at what went on in Georgia. President Trump's team of attorneys, they were following the legal and legitimate process to remedy what they believed was a wrong election, was a mishandled election. And they were using the legal means, right, of petitioning the state legislator, petitioning the electors, right, suing in court to try to get things remedied. These are all legal processes. These are all legit processes, but that's being criminalized now. That's being criminalized now, and it's clear that the Marxists in our country want to send a message, right, to not buck the status quo. That's what's being done here. The left and the Marxists and those who are weaponizing our government and law enforcement agencies are sending a message to not buck the system. Do not dare challenge those in authority. And if you do dare to challenge the regime, we will put the Department of Justice and the FBI in the full weight of the federal government to hunt you down and lock you up. And if you think you haven't committed a crime, we'll find one, is the motto. And so these are intimidating times.
In our church or ministry,
we're going to have to combat it. We're going to have to deconstruct this weaponization of our law enforcement and actually turn the attention of our government to punishing the true evildoer. That's what the Bible says.
Moses said, "I will turn aside to see this great sight, why the bush is not burned." My name is Abraham Hamilton III, and this is the Hamilton Minute. In the burning bush encounter, scripture records that it began as Moses kept Jethro's flock. When the Lord saw that Moses turned aside to see, he called to him out of the bush, "Moses, Moses." And he said, "Here I am." Notice God didn't speak to Moses until he gave full attention to what God was trying to show him. Diligent attention to daily duty is necessary. We must be careful, however, not to allow duty to become an idol. Are our hearts still sensitive to God? Can God still get our attention?
Listen each weekday from 5 to 6 p.m. Central for the Hamilton Corner with Abraham Hamilton III, Public Policy Analyst for the American Family Association.
This is Raising Godly Girls Minute with Patty Garibay of American Heritage Girls.
Have you heard the adage, swimming upstream? Salmon have a biological urgency in the late summer months to swim against a river's current. Have you seen something similar in your girl? Perhaps she marches to the beat of her own drum or tends to go up the down staircase. As you behold the quirkiness you love about her, consider the benefit of this resilience when used for kingdom impact. When Christians are driven by the gospel, nothing, literally nothing, can stop them. Peer pressure, cancel culture, even natural disasters, your girl is a fearless force for God when she shines God's love to the world around her. Find a beautiful print or make your own of Romans 8 verses 34 through 39 and put it in your girl's room. Then cheer her on to Jesus.
Learn more about empowering girls through the love of God at raisinggodlygirls.com. Hey friends, it's Jessica Peck, Dr. Nurse Mama, as your 1-minute parenting coach. Have you ever asked your kid, "How was your day?" and gotten a shoulder shrug with the answer, "Fine"? We are conditioned as a society to respond that we are fine when someone asks us how we are doing. Simply changing the wording could make all the difference in the world. Next time your kid comes home from school, try, "Tell me about your day," instead of "How was your day?" But choose your timing. Kids need time to decompress when they get home. Give them grace and space. Kids at bedtime are most likely to be willing to give you the War and Peace length version of their day. Don't give up. Be